Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Harshing's Podcast. Today we have two special guests. Guests, please introduce yourself.
Yo, my name is Braulio Figueredo.
Aracely. All right, thank you guys for coming in. We've been trying to have you guys come along for a couple months now.
He's been trying.
I know I've been trying, but thank you for coming in, and then of course switching up the schedule, and then yeah.
A lot of changes in schedule.
I know a lot, man, bro. We all busy, but thank you for making the time. Cool. So a little backstory. We know you guys from high school and middle school, right? I know you're from middle school.
Yeah, Why not? Aracely since elementary school.
I know.
I always forget that I know you since middle school.
I know, right? I was like, yeah, I do know her
we
from.
used to play soccer a little bit.
Yeah.
At school, yeah.
Yeah.
We know each other from fourth grade, right?
Yeah, fourth grade at Downer.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got history.
Yeah.
So we known each other for a while now, and then of course going into high school, Richmond High, we kind of got acquaintance with each other a little bit more, but now we're adults, right? We have our own lives, and people always ask us, like me in particular, like I tell people, they ask me, how long you been together with your wife, and I tell them, oh, it's been 10 years, 11 years. I'm like, oh, you're so young. How do you guys keep that, kept it going to life? But you guys been together a lot longer than us, like maybe a year or so, right?
Casi almost, we're going to 15 years in March.
15 years.
15?
Yeah, we're going on 14, so.
Igual como Gus and Aracely, we got the same anniversary.
Yeah.
For real?
Oh, what?
Oh,
Same
shit.
exact day.
Nice,
so
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Damn.
And we're married for 4 years, going to be 5.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first question, how did you guys meet? Was it in high school or was it before?
No, it was in high school.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We were on a field trip to San Jose State, and Braulio was like flirting with me in the bus.
Nice.
I saw her and I was like, damn, who's that?
So you made the first move?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No me pelaba mucho, pero then I just kept messing with her on the field trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then we took a tour of San Jose State, which is, that's actually where I proposed. Yeah, that's where I proposed.
Oh, nice.
Porque hay un, like a little cathedral there.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
chapel.
yeah, a little chapel. And then I was just flirting with her the whole trip. And I was like, I'm going to marry you one day right there.
Mm.
And then that's the exact spot where I proposed.
Oh, nice,
Aw.
nice.
Yeah. Pretty cute, pretty corny. Yeah.
There's no such thing, man. There's no such thing. Cool. So obviously, you guys made the first move.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, what made you besides what is it something that you liked about her?
Her smile. I don't know. She was just, she's really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you with him?
I don't know. I wasn't really interested in dating someone, but he was so nice.
She did the follow through. Like I was just messing with flirting with her,
Mm-hmm.
and then after the field trip, you just go back to your regular day and your classes and stuff. And then she just texted me
From my friend's phone.
She didn't even have a phone.
Yeah,
So she
I
texted
didn't
me
have a
from-
cell phone,
Mm.
and I
Yeah.
texted him from my friend's phone, and
And I was like,
We started
I was so
talking.
shocked. It was during that I think SSR and all that reading period we used to have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like shook. I was like, she's texting me. Oh my god.
She's like, let me make sure you hold your end.
So what is one thing that what was one of the things that you liked about him?
he was really nice, very talkative.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice. So you asked her you said San Jose State?
Yeah. Well, I was just messing with her, just flirting with her, and then she texted me, and then we would talk. She didn't have a phone, so it was kind of hard to communicate at 1st. And she would just message me from her friends' phones. And then I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work. If you don't have a phone, we can't really be we wouldn't talk. We would only talk during that period, and then the whole day we wouldn't talk until the next day. And then she eventually got a phone. She would work.
Yeah.
She started working hella young.
Yeah, I started working and I started paying my own phone, and I was like, okay, now I can text him from my.
Nice. Where did you start working?
I started working at JetX, the
Oh,
store
yeah, I
next
remember
to
now, yeah.
Foodscope.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I worked there for a
Oh, I
couple
think I
years.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So fast forward a couple of years, looking back into how you guys started, is there anything that you can say that made it hard for you guys, in your relationship? Is there anything in particular that?
I think that was really hard, the communication aspect of it, because everybody had a phone, or you'd be on the phone three-way, you know, with your friends, and just that's really the only way to communicate because internet was barely like starting up, and then so it was that was hard, I think, for me, just the accessibility standpoint to get a hold of her, and then I mean, like her parents, her mom was really strict, so it was kind of hard. It took like a year or something.
Yeah, felt like a year. I remember
because she couldn't go out.
I think it was Valentine's Day. I didn't tell my mom we were dating, and then it was a Valentine's Day, and he brought me flowers to my house, and I was like, oh my gosh, now I have to tell my mom.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because it was like a year, almost 2 years maybe, and I was like, yeah, I gotta get the ball rolling or something.
Yeah.
Hey, James,
Meet the family.
Was it James?
James took you.
Yeah, because I didn't drive, I didn't have a car, and I bought flowers, and he took me, and he was like, hey, I'll just pull away while you have the flowers or something. And he just like drove off, and then I walked up with the flowers, and then she's pretty much like, Mom, I have a boyfriend.
Yeah, I'm like, that's my boyfriend.
What did your mom say?
She was just like shocked. She was like, oh, okay.
I didn't know you had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I think you had came over to my house, right?
Yeah,
but you
couple
were like my
times.
friend, you know?
And her stepdad was like hella, you know,
Suspicious.
Mexican, hella like,
Serious.
hella serious,
Yeah,
hella serio.
okay.
He wouldn't want to talk to me.
It's like, I'm watching you.
Yeah, really.
How is it now?
Oh, I'm too comfortable.
Oh, yeah?
Way too comfortable. Yeah, because we stay with our in-laws. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Is there anything in particular? Okay, so for example, Graciela and I, like we've shared a couple of like, you know, our struggles as a couple. I always ask this question, but I'm pretty sure it's yes. You guys fight, right?
All the time.
Never.
Do you guys how far do you guys let the like a fight escalate, or do you guys have that under control?
I think in the beginning we used to really fight.
Yeah.
Just random stuff. Because I was kind of doing my own thing, you know, growing up, trying to figure out what you're doing in life. And I think I wasn't really fully committed in the beginning. Just trying to do my own thing. And then eventually she grew on me.
Yeah, I think that and a lot of the things is like just bickering at each other. I feel like don't do this or do that or
Do you guys let it escalate, or how did you guys handle it? You know, de-escalating.
I think we're pretty good at just
We haven't had any big fights.
Yeah.
It was really early on. The first couple of years, it was a little rough. But yeah, we're
now
cool.
it's just like little things, and I'm like, okay, do I
When
really
we
want to be
get,
mad at
I'm not
him?
gonna lie. When we get mad, we kind of like ignore each other or something for a
Yeah.
bit, like just to let it go away. Like, and then we just can't stand being without each other. So
Yeah,
I
I get that. I get
Yeah.
that.
it's
Yeah.
hella funny. Like,
You can relate.
Yeah, I can relate. Definitely. When he said that, I was like, yeah, that's what I do.
It's like, yeah, I ignore you too.
and también when I get mad, sometimes I don't know. Like, I always say the wrong things. So like, mejor me quedo
You
callado.
can relate too.
Oh my God, for real.
And I just let it go, and I'm like, she's gonna come back.
Yeah. Like I remember during like the beginning of our relationship, she's like, okay, well, we need to talk. And I'm like, I don't want to talk because I know myself. Sometimes I don't know what to say or how to say things, and
We all have different coping mechanisms. And
Yeah.
For me, sometimes I just like shut off. Like, just go out, listen to music or something. Like, go do my thing and then come back to it.
And you allowed it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And even now, like, he still tries to do, like, his own thing. And I'm cool. Like, he goes to play soccer. I'm like, okay, you have your own time and I have my own time. Because it's good to have, like,
Some space.
some space.
Yeah. Well, she didn't allow me to like go down. So a lot of the times we were like trying to like, okay, well, I'll meet you halfway. Let's talk about it. And I would say something that I couldn't really, you know, like picture it or like say on the right way. And she like, I would say something hurtful. And then it got worse. And like, you see, you want me to talk, but now we're in this big ass hole, you know? So it got me to a point where like,
It would escalate.
yeah, you know, so I had to, in a way, like think faster or like at least try to like make sense, you know?
Keep him on his toes.
Yeah.
Just stop and think.
Yeah, like, come on, Mar, you can do this. So I'm like, you know, over the years, it's gotten easier because like I've learned certain things that will piss her off or get me at her mad. So now I know, like, okay, I know what's wrong. As before, I have to like figure out why she's mad and then me explain myself. basically I learned like I don't need to explain. Just say okay, I fucked up, you know, and that works usually.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but yeah, it was kind of hard for us at first, you know.
But I mean, sometimes I don't know how to like articulate, like the way I say things is not what I actually mean.
Yeah.
So, like I kind of say it the wrong way. But
Yeah,
I don't
he's
actually
kinda
mean it.
blunt.
Yeah, like I'm so direct. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I could be like that sometimes.
I think I have that problem too.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be like really direct with you, and I'll be like, "Damn, that song is so fucked up."
But usually I'm open. You know, I'm like, okay, I know you weren't trying to say like that, so I'm gonna just kind of let it slide. But if it's the other way around, it's like, no.
Oh yeah, my feelings
it's
are
a crying
hurt.
fest. You know? It's a crying fest. But yeah, so you know, kind of going back a couple years, you know, how do you guys, you know, still have the fire? Like, how do you guys maintain happy? You know, a lot of people might want to know. They heard it from us, you know, but it's a different story, you know, with you guys, right? I'm guessing.
I think a majority, like we grew with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were really broke in the beginning of our relationship. Like we worked at Walmart together. Like we would spend $5. Like we would share a foot long together. Share a bag of chips and buy one vitamin water. Like that's how broke we were. Like we would share everything. I would eat like $1 tuna and $1 macaroni, little thing. Like we were really struggling. We would eat Taco Bell regularly, like,
All the time.
and I still do. But
Like now, I just like it.
like, we would never go out to eat. Like it was always like cheap value menu fast food for hella long. And then yeah, little by little, like she got me into like working a lot. Like she got me into Walmart. She was like, you need to apply. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I just started working hella hard from there.
Just growing up and like really, how do I say it?
Like just seeing the lowest of the low.
Yeah, seeing the lowest and then just growing up together and like working your way up pretty much, like, and then something that keeps our relationship going, I would say, like spending time apart, but also spending time together, like going out for a road trip or just go out for dinner or a weekend somewhere. And I feel like that's important too, not just.
I mean, some of the funnest times we have are just laughing about random stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just we be cracking up. And then, like, she always knows how to get to me, and she uses that against me, like, on purpose. And then I'm like, are you serious, dude? Like,
Like what do you mean, like get to you?
like
He'll say he doesn't like something or what.
Well, I mean, that one time where, like, you told me to throw something away. We were in a room, and she's like, can you throw this paper away? And then I was like, okay. And then I came back, and she had a little pedacito de paper. And she's like, oh, can you throw this away too? And I'm like...
But I was just messing with him. I was
and
like,
then
I'm gonna
she wanted
with
to...
it.
She always wants to see my reaction. I'm like...
She's just like watching, like how's it
I'm
gonna
like, are
react?
you fucking serious?
Yeah.
I just went over there. She started cracking up, and then I started dying. Like, she always tries to get a reaction out of me. It's hella funny.
Just like toying with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see, you know, kind of what you guys mentioned, growing up together. We've also, you know, done our roller coaster.
We
of,
talked about it.
yeah,
before,
a lot, you know, and you know, sometimes I cry, you know, just like kind of looking back how we started, you know, and you know, I think when you work hard for something, you know, you value it at the end a little bit more, you know, not to get into like, you know, politics or anything, but you know, usually when people get everything they have, they don't value it as much as when you work hard for it, right? So it kind of goes away with same with relationships. You know, you see, you know, how hard it took for you to be where you're at, and then you look at it like you go look back at it and like, damn, you know, it's like we did that, you know, and you just it's a bond, you know, you create a bigger bond without even knowing, like, you know, you're working hard and you lift each other up, you know. That's in my opinion, that's what, you know, I look at her and I'm like, God damn, you know, like I love you. And I say, you know, like, you know, like just randomly like se me sale, you know, and it's just something like a mechanism, like, you know, I'm thinking about something or something triggers, I was watching TV or back then, before we had Aiden, there was a show we used to watch all the time. And the reason we used to watch it all the time is because we only had like, you know, basic channels, no cable. It was a show, My Name is Earl.
My name was Earl.
Yeah. My name is Earl. So I used to watch that every Monday or every Wednesday.
Show.
Yeah. So I remember it was a clip on YouTube, and that, you know, a clip came up in YouTube, and I was like, oh shit, I haven't seen that show in hella long, and it just triggered memories. you know, and you know, I just smiled. You know, it was just something that it was beautiful to me, you know, at the moment. So I can see what you're saying.
I think the come up is important when you're with somebody, like, because we were together in our lows. When we got married, I was, you know what they say, like, for richer, for poor, or whatever, sickness and health, and it's like that really applied to us because, you know, I had a couple surgeries and she was there for me, like, unconditionally, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
To have somebody by your side.
Yeah.
So before we get into this, just kind of like what you're talking about right now, like I can relate a lot. I hate, and she's gonna know this, but I hate horoscopes. You know, she's always like, oh, you know, it's Pisces thing and it's a Sagittarius thing. But I was like, I'm looking at you like, holy shit, I kind of believe it right now because you're born December 7th, right?
Yeah.
1989.
I always tell her you're like the only person that always texts me every year on a consistent basis.
Yeah, bro.
What? Oh,
because like I remember it was we were playing soccer and you said happy birthday to me. It's like, oh, thank you, bro. I was like, yeah, it was my birthday yesterday. I'm like, for real? Like, you playing with me. And then I went to Facebook and like, holy shit, like, happy belated birthday. So ever since then, I know, like, okay, you know.
Oh, ever since then, you've been on top
of
September, I mean, December 7th and December 8th.
I feel like you keep me in check every time you tell me. I'm like, oh, I'm going to tell
no, I have to say happy birthday.
I'm be the first one at 12:01. Like,
yeah. So I'm like, you're talking. I'm like, holy shit, is this Sagittarius thing? Like, no, I can't go back into it.
Yeah, I don't really believe in horoscopes too, but a lot of people do believe in this stuff.
Yeah. Not gonna say who, but
a little bit, okay.
They're like, oh, like this is totally me. Like, not even. I'm like, I know what you're talking about.
Sometimes people be like, oh, who's your wife? And then I'm like, what are you? I don't even.
Aries.
Oh, you're Aries. See, I don't really follow them. They're like, oh, you guys are compatible. Or I'm like, cool.
Well, we get she gets a lot that we're not compatible. I've seen like plenty of posts like, oh, you guys are not compatible. I'm like, see, that's bullshit. Like, you know.
Oh yeah, that's bullshit.
Like, you know, but
I mean, opposites attract. You know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So going forward a couple of years, you guys started, you know, starting a family, right?
Yeah.
So before you guys start, when you text me that, you know, when we were texting back and forth, Graciela was there. I was like legitimately happy. Like you guys made my day. I
almost cried for you guys.
I swear to God, I almost cried too. You know, because we were kind of like, you know, texting and we kind of knew what was going on. So when you text me, I'm like, oh fuck. You know, and I just smiled. And, you know, I don't know why, but it's just something I legitimately felt happy for you, you know?
Yeah, it took a while to get here. It's definitely a roller coaster of emotions. Yeah. It's a topic that people don't really talk about.
Yeah.
She's, after going through this, she's like one of the strongest people I've known to go through this. And
it's been rough.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's been a rough 3 years.
Oh, you've been trying for 3 years?
Yeah, for 3 years.
Oh, okay. What part of the stage was it harder for you guys? Towards the beginning, middle, ending? Or has it been the same?
I feel like the hardest part was when we had, for everyone to know, we did IVF.
In vitro fertilization.
Yeah, so it's a pretty long process. I had to be on medications to, you know, grow my eggs. They eventually had to do surgery to remove my eggs and create embryos, which is our babies. Then they freeze them, they send them out for testing, and they freeze them. And then once they receive the testing back, they know which ones are most likely to...
most viable.
Yeah,
most best ones.
Best embryos. So when they did that, they did it, it was in December. We did our first embryo transfer in December. And that one didn't stick. So I think that was the hardest part for me.
Yeah, that was really hard. Yeah. Well, we tried for like a year, and then we went to go see specialists, and then we found out we had to do IVF. And then that's very expensive. We were saving up. That money was like our savings for our house. And then we took a hit for our savings on that. But I had told Aracely, I'm never gonna remember that. She was like, because I just been working, grinding, working hard just to save up, like both of us, to buy a house. And then she's like, what's a house if you can't put a family in it?
Oh, shit.
And then I was like, you're right. And then like ever since then, I was just like all in. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think, it's been a long, it's been a long process. Yeah, I was under a lot of medications and injections, and there was a point where I was injecting myself like 6 times a day.
And that's like how the process works.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, injections, oral medication.
Yeah, even after, like, I was pregnant already, because my body pretty much, they have to make it feel like I'm pregnant before I'm even pregnant, because the age of the embryo was 6 days, so they have to make my uterus like a 6-day-old uterus. You know, your body, like when you get pregnant regularly, your body does everything for you. But because I wasn't pregnant yet and the embryo was already 6 days, they had to give me medications and injections. So my body would be at that stage pretty much. And even after I found out I was pregnant, I still had to keep doing the injections. I still had to keep doing everything, taking the medications so my levels wouldn't go down.
Just to maintain it?
Yeah, I had to do it for how long? Over a month.
I think like 2 months.
Yeah, almost like 2 months. I still had to continue to do it it was tough. Like, I was sore. Everywhere was sore.
Where will you inject yourself? In arm, a belly?
So during our when we were doing the egg collection, I would do them on my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the transfer, I was doing them on my hip. Yeah, so I would try to rotate, but it was still like, it would get to a point where I would be bruising, or I would hit a vein, and like I would take out the needle, and it was just a like bunch of blood. I was like, I would freak out.
Yeah.
And it's not only that. Like some people don't have the luxury of affording this treatment. That's one thing, and then she eventually had to do it with the timing. Like, there's specific timing where you got to do everything, and then she had to start doing it at work, like in the bathroom, and like she was nervous about that in the beginning.
Yeah, because he was doing my injections at first, and that was easy. Like, I would just have him do it for me, you know? And even though it would hurt, I was just like, okay, at least I don't have to do it to myself.
Yeah.
But then it got to a point where I had to do my injections at 11 every day. And he has to be at work. I have to go to work. And, yeah, I just had to go to the bathroom. At first, I asked my coworker. She was like, yeah, I'll do it for you. I was like, okay. But then, you get busy at work, and you don't want to be bothering other people.
Like, hey, it's time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, so.
But for one, it's like she was doing that consistently, like so many alarms, like all the time going off. And it's like, how do you keep up with that? Even with alarms, it's like, and then también you're doing so much at a time. Sometimes she'd be like, damn, did I take my medication? Or like, you know. Like,
yeah, because I would take it so much, like, damn, did I do it today? What was that yesterday? Or like, I would forget.
Yeah. It's hard to remember.
Yeah.
You said something right now that, you know, it made me think of, Mario shared with me when you had kind of shared with him what you guys were going through. And you said something about how, you know, some people don't have the luxury to, you know, go through the process. I almost kind of felt that way. Like, when he told me what you guys were going through, I was over here talking about, I don't feel happy because, like, I feel sick and I feel that. And I was like, I just feel so ungrateful. Yeah. Like, some people don't have the luxury to just be like, oh, let's get pregnant, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And honestly, there's so many people, like, before I had to go through this, I didn't know, like, all of this. You pretty much don't know until you're going through it. And I think it's a topic that should be talked about a lot more, because there's a lot of people that don't say anything that they're struggling, you know? They're not open about their fertility. And
it's like a hidden community.
Yeah.
Going through this process is like 1 in 10 couples or something like that. 1 in 9.
4.
1 in 4?
Oh. I think, or 1 in 8.
No, I think it's 1 in 8 or 9. 1 in 8. Yeah, something like that.
Because there's different reasons. So there's different, like, I guess, numbers that people are going through it. But anyway, yeah, it's hard. And I, before this, like I said, I didn't know this even existed, you know. But then and when I was going through the process, I felt so lonely. Like, I'm like, damn, like, she's pregnant. I can't get pregnant, you know. So I went to Instagram. So I started following, like, hashtags, like IVF hashtags or trying to conceive hashtags, and I thought that was so cool because everyone shares their story, and everyone's story is different. Like,
And it makes
our
you feel
story
like you're
is
not
different.
alone,
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're not alone.
Because everybody's like having kids, and we're just like everyone, like all our circle is having kids, and we're like, we almost got to the point where we are gonna accept that we weren't gonna have a kid of our own, and then like, damn, what are our options? Like, we have to adopt. Are we not gonna have kids, or like? And then this little miracle happened, so that's pretty amazing.
So you guys talked about adopting?
We didn't get to there yet. We're still trying to process it. Like it's very mentally draining when you're trying to go through this, and sometimes it was hard for me to be there for her, like I should have, like, because
there's no guidebook to how exactly to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I'm weird about my emotions sometimes. I like to suppress them and just keep moving forward, and then I think Aracely, like, you like to articulate more, talk more about your feelings, and I'm not that good at it sometimes.
Yeah, and I remember, like,
but she knows I mean well. She knows I'm there for her, but I just don't like.
And I had some side effects to the medications too. So like my hormones were everywhere. I had a bunch of headaches, like I was telling you. But yeah, even before I was pregnant, I was already having, like, I would have nausea, and just by taking the medication, not even like me being pregnant yet. Yeah, it was hard.
It was already taking a toll on your body.
Yeah, it was. Lots of appointments. There was a point when we were going to our clinic in Fremont every other day. So every other day we had to go and get an
Luckily, our
ultrasound.
jobs, like I said, like we have a luxury.
Yeah,
Like,
having time off, being able to save for this. Because some people, they don't. Like, they don't, insurance don't cover it, unfortunately. I wish they would.
yeah, almost all companies don't cover it. And I work at a healthcare company. They don't cover it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you guys get the information for the place that you went to?
Well, it's because I work at Kaiser. So
so you got it.
kind of just went through there.
Yeah, well, my OB, she referred me. She said, there's a couple places that you can go to. You can go to this one in Oakland, or you can go to San Ramon.
Yeah, San Ramon.
And she was like, but I would recommend going to San Ramon just because you'll probably get better service there. So we're like, care. Okay, so I don't mind, that's fine. We don't mind driving. So we ended up choosing San Ramon. So all of our appointments, we had to either go to San Ramon or Fremont. Yeah.
How long was it a drive out there to San Ramon?
Usually in the morning, so it'd be like about an hour, a little bit of rush hour.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there a moment where you guys were like, you guys thought to each other like, why can't we get pregnant? Was there a moment, and how far along into the relationship did you kind of like talked about it?
Well, like we didn't really start trying after like 10 years or something like that.
When we got married, I think that's
that's when we started
a little
considering
after
that.
when we got married.
But I was, I was joking around. I was like, man, we should have never wore protection all these years. Like, could have saved me, like, because it was like, the treatment was like 30K or something like that.
Yeah.
Around there.
Probably a little. We had to pay for everything out of pocket. So even the medications, we had to pay for that out of pocket.
How expensive was it?
Like 30K.
Oh, okay. So overall was
probably a little more.
Probably more, like another 2 to 5K for medication or something like that.
Yeah.
But I work in a pharmacy, and it's like sad. Like the other day, a person was like, a medication for one of those things. It was like I was talking to her, and she was trying to find out the price, and she was like, "Oh, I can't afford that, so I got to talk to my doctor." Like, and then it just had me thinking, like some people can't really afford that stuff. They can't even start the process because they don't have no funds for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of our appointments were covered. I remember even to speak with a fertility nurse over the phone, there was a cost for that. So I could just imagine other people who either don't have insurance or don't have a husband who works at Kaiser. Like, it's tough. Honestly, it's tough. Yeah. We feel blessed to be where we're at and be able to do this. It's been a long time.
That's nice. I mean,
So now you guys are, you said almost 20 weeks?
Yeah, I'm 17 weeks today.
so that's, I hate the weeks part.
It's like 4 months and a half.
I hate
Yeah.
I'm 36. Like, I don't know what that means.
That's
So,
almost due, Mark.
I feel like guys always use months. And
yeah, I like,
everybody else uses weeks.
I'm 12 weeks. How many months is that? Just tell me that. But look at you guys now, you know.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you guys. I really am.
Congratulations.
Who was the first ones you told when, you know, you got the news?
I found out first.
Yeah.
And then I told Braulio.
Mhm.
And then
What was his reaction?
It was really awesome. It was cute.
we were already planning to do the pregnancy test. I was planning to do the pregnancy test that day.
Mhm.
Because I had to go to work, I think the day after or the day after that. And then I was like, I can't go to work without knowing, like, because we had already had a failed transfer, and that I had to take a whole week off for that because I was.
Yeah, I even left work that day. I told
Yeah.
my colleagues, I was like, I gotta go. This didn't go
It's too
through.
emotional.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
even for me at work, I was like I gotta be there. I don't care if I get fired or whatever. Like I was like, I'm leaving right now. They're like, oh no, it's all right. Because I told some of my managers too that we were going through it, and then they're really supportive about it, and they were always asking, oh, like what's going on? And then I was like, I gotta go, you guys. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I don't even think we really talked. We just were with each other.
Yeah, just going through the whole process and for it not to work, that was tough. Yeah.
So it seems like it's emotional, right?
Yeah, it's hella emotional.
Yeah, I don't want to touch too much on it, but you know,
Those
when
heartstrings, you gotta touch the heart.
I know, bro. Like, but I'm going to go in deep. No,
No, but you're asking how we found out, right? Or,
well, kind of going because what you're mentioning right now, like the first time around, you know,
Try to dig deeper.
yeah. So when you found out that, you know, the first one, how'd you call it?
The
The
embryo.
first transfer?
The first transfer.
the embryo transfer.
So you found out first, or
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the doctors normally communicate with me. So I got the call from the nurse and said, you know, she said it didn't go through pretty much.
Okay.
That's one of the
Yeah.
probably one of the hardest conversations when you get that call and you're like, it's either, and it was like, wasn't it like, it was around Christmas.
It was Christmas Eve.
It was Christmas Eve,
Oh, shit.
and we were like hoping for the best news,
Mm.
and we were so positive about it.
Yeah.
Like everything felt right, and then we just got hit with that. It's like running into a wall. And we're like, I don't even remember Christmas. Like
Yeah, it was rough
it was
Christmas.
like a
Yeah.
blackout moment. The next couple of weeks after that, and I was like,
Did you guys cry together? Yeah.
yeah, it's tough.
That was tough.
No, you know, the reason I ask is it's like, you know, at least me, I don't know about her, but maybe it's the same. When I cry,
Doesn't know me.
yeah, when I cry, it's painful, but it helps, you know, and when you kind of like let it, you know, linger and you hold it in, because I've been like that my whole life.
Well, that's how I was raised too.
Yeah.
It's like, that's like, especially guys are like, oh, don't cry, like,
Yeah.
boys don't cry.
Yeah.
And I used to suppress a lot of my emotions, and
Yeah.
it's only recently where like a lot of people are talking about mental health and like you gotta show your emotions and stuff. I mean, I still struggle with that, and I know Aracely sees it. Like, I could be like really cold sometimes, and it's just like a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah. I don't
That's
know.
what you know.
Yeah. I don't know with me, I don't know where in my life, that's kind of where I started, you know, blocking anything that comes through me and just suppressing it. Because kind of like looking back, you know, with my dad and my mom, like they were always very open to, you know, my emotions in a sense. But, you know, there was a time where, you know, years later, I was already old. We already had Aiden. You know, my dad made his own life, you know, in Hawaii. So, you know, they came over with his wife, you know, and they had like a whole family. And like the whole time, you know,
How do you absorb that? Like,
that's where,
crazy.
that's like we went to Reno. It was like a 3-day trip.
That's
You
when I
know?
was pregnant with Aiden.
Yeah, it was a 3-day trip. We went, we had like, you know,
like, how are you supposed to pretend to accept
I held it in those 3
like
days.
another family?
I didn't notice anything. Like
Yeah.
right now that you even talking about
Yeah.
it, I'm like, thinking about the time we spent, like I had no idea.
Yeah, and it was 3 days. You can say technically 4 because we drove here and then they dropped us off. As soon as they dropped us off, I was like, it broke. Yeah, it broke. It was like, just seeing like my dad have his own family, and kind of going back, it was emotional. And I remember that day, as soon as I cried, like all that pain that I was feeling throughout those 3 days, like just kind of went away. It just drifted off.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to cry and let it go.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's
I mean, you've always talked about how your dad was like your hero and stuff.
Yeah. That's another episode we're going to talk about. There's a whole thing with my dad and all, but, I think that's where I learned like a lot, with how I how I bond with Aiden and Nadi is specifically because of that. Like I got the good things and I got the bad things. And I just kind of like looked at it like what I wanted when I was a kid. And a lot of the things that I show my kids and I give to my kids is because that's kind of what I lacked, And yeah.
That's what I'm interested to see about becoming a father, how I'm going to be towards my child.
Yeah.
Because of the past traumas and stuff like that. Like, you don't want it to catch up to you or affect how you're portraying your feelings off to.
I think one of the most important things is being like acknowledging the fact that you had those traumas and you don't want to pass on those traumas to your children.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah. Because kind of touching with my parents as well. We see a lot of cases where people are like, oh, well, I didn't have the life that I would want to, and that's the way I am, like not to like generalize or judge people, sometimes it's possible to get out of like a bad, state of mind, especially when you didn't grow up with like the perfect or even like semi-normal parents, you can still get out of a hole like that. Like my dad and my mom both went through their childhood. It was a horrible childhood, but then they raised me the way they did in a sense. And that's a huge jump from how they were raised to how so it's possible, and kind of go me with when when Aiden was born, I kind of had to like in a way had to analyze how I really wanted to raise him. And, I just think about people sometimes, I hate saying this, but they kind of feel like people use an excuse, like I didn't have a good life. So, it's like, no, it's hard, especially because it's mental, it's like mental health is real, and it's hard for people to get out of that, but it's possible.
Like I heard that from my mother. Like my mother would be like, oh, at least you don't have it as bad as I do. Okay, well, can you like change it a little bit more? Because that's
Well, I'm starting to get to that point too. I realize like, maybe it wasn't that bad when I was a kid, like, cause I just suppressed a lot of stuff, and then I didn't have everything, but I did have enough, like, and still trying to appreciate the things that I did have when I was younger, even if it wasn't much, like, that's what I'm trying to work at right now.
Yeah, I think me too. Yeah, just seeing my mom work so hard for everything that she did for us. Inspiring and makes me want to do the same thing for my children.
Yeah.
Her mom raised the whole family up.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much one person can do.
Yeah. In mentioning moms, I always tell her the same thing, but like, she reminds me of my mom because of the way that she is with kids, the way she's like very nurturing, and I feel like years later, she mentioned my dad I always took my dad as a hero. Like I always like looked up to my dad. And then now that I got older, I don't see him differently, but not the same, not with that same high level. Well, the one that kind of like I thought about and made me feel bad was my mom, because for all those years she put in work. Same thing. Like she had a good job. She was working 3 jobs at one point, try to like,
make ends
meet. And then, my dad had his issues too with, drugs and all. So she was also supporting that, and so it was a lot. And then looking back years like later, I'm like, she did all that for us, and it's like she was working 3 jobs.
She never complained.
No, she was working 3 jobs, taking me to soccer practice, walking at times, for example, from Richmond High all the way to 19th Street Barrett. So at that time, like, after her 3rd job.
She just put her head down and grinding, huh?
Yeah, man. And then I was just thinking about it.
Admirable.
Yeah. And it's like, so surprisingly me as a kid, I never saw that. Now that I'm older, I see that like, fuck, like I was, not to say it like that, but I was looking at the wrong person as my hero, but, and I feel bad, because now she's a grandmother and she's raising our kids, you know, the way she was raising us, and that's a lot of love.
Well, I think in general, because we're like mostly first generation, right? And
Yeah.
like, we don't really appreciate or understand the struggle that our parents had to go through. Like just learning a whole nother language, or like it's like you're trying to make your way. And then I feel like to be in the position that I am, I'm grateful for what they had to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. Like you said, just learning another language, like that itself is difficult. Trying to communicate somewhere where you are not understood.
It's a foreign place.
Yeah.
So going forward to where you guys at now, kind of like with the question I asked earlier, like, you know, how did you tell them? How did you feel? Who were the first people that, you know, that knew?
Well,
Yeah, so we were at the point where they were gonna explain his reaction.
we got hella off topic.
Yeah.
But I got it here. We got to go back there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that morning we already knew we were gonna do the pregnancy test, and he was in the bathroom, and I was
doing
like,
my morning business, you know.
Yeah.
so then I was like, we have 2 restrooms, so I was like, I'm gonna go to the other restroom and I'm gonna do it, and then I went and I was like, okay, I did it, and I waited a little while and it was positive. I was like, oh my gosh, is this serious? Like, I had taken so many pregnancy tests and it had never been positive. Like, that was crazy to me. And yeah, it was positive. So I was like, oh my gosh, I needed to like do something. And I had a little box ready, even from our first transfer. I already had it, so I just had it put away, and I had.
I didn't even know you had it from the first time.
Yeah, I had it from the first time. And then it had like a little onesie that said, "Hi, Daddy." So I got that, and then I was like, okay, I put it in a box, and then I put the pregnancy test in there. And then he was taking so long. I was like, oh my gosh, why is he taking so long? So I was trying to put my camera so I could record his reaction. I put in and I started recording, but he was still taking forever. I was like,
Because he was doing his morning business.
yeah, because he was doing his morning business.
I can relate.
And then like a while later, he finally I heard him coming, so I was like, okay, now I'll start recording. I started recording, and then I was like, oh, like, you know, I just wanted to give to you, like, whether it's positive or negative, I just want you to have this, right? And then
I was still like,
he was kind of lost.
yeah, I was waking up and I was like, what can you possibly be giving me? Like, I was expecting bad news. So I was like, what is she possibly giving me for this bad news, for this moment? Like, what the heck?
How is she trying to make me feel bad?
Yeah, like, why are you giving me something? Like, and then I open it, and then there's the pregnancy test, and then I was shook. Like, I was shocked, like, literally shocked. And then I just started crying. And then I just kept asking her, like, is this for real? Like, is this for real? Like, I just held it there for hella long. Yeah. And I was like, with the onesie, the blue onesie right behind.
Am I still sleeping?
Like, and I love Chelsea. It was a Chelsea onesie. And I didn't even pick it up. And I was just like, no way, dude. Like, I just started, like, bawling. And I was like, because I know how hard she worked for this. Like, the struggle that she had to go through. It was, like, hella meaningful.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, and then the next people we told, I remember I told my coworkers, because I had to go to work. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll tell my coworkers, because everybody was looking at me like
they knew.
Yeah, they knew. So they were like looking at me. They were like, didn't know what to say. They didn't want to ask. So I was like, oh my God, they're looking at me weird. I was like, okay, fine.
Well, the thing is, like, a lot of people would always ask, so when are you guys gonna have a kid? When are you guys gonna have a kid? So, like, our close people, we were just like, we got annoyed of being asked all the time, which is like a whole nother topic, because I used to ask this person all the time at work, and then I didn't realize until going through this, like, maybe some people can't conceive, like, so you shouldn't be asking all the time. So people would ask us all the time, and then some of our close people would be like, oh, we're gonna try IVF, and some of our friends just kept following up with us. Sometimes they wouldn't want to ask, but then those are the people, like my cousin. Like, those are the people we told first.
Yeah. We told my parents.
They were in Mexico, right?
Yeah, they were in Mexico. Because it was, we had to do a blood test to find out if it was positive or not. And then we had to go again a couple days after that.
To make sure it's going.
To make sure that it was, progressing. The numbers were looking good. So... yeah, once we had the second blood test, I was like, okay, now I think we should tell my parents. And then at the end, we were telling, we were
So
at,
like after the positive pregnancy test, you still have to go through a process
yeah.
of verifying that it's actually positive.
Yeah.
Well, that it's going along, that it's progressing.
And even I think it was at 6 weeks. 6 weeks we had our first ultrasound, and just going through the first trimester is difficult. Period. Just thinking like, oh, is it gonna stay?
We didn't want to get our hopes
am I
up.
gonna have a miscarriage? You know, it was tough. Like I was scared. We were scared to tell his family because I was like,
we wanted to tell everybody, but then we didn't want to tell anybody because like, what if it doesn't go through?
Yeah.
Like
You don't
it's
wanna
hard,
jinx it.
yeah. And you don't want to like say, "Oh, I'm pregnant," and then they ask you, and then you're like, "Oh no, I'm not pregnant." You
Especially because the
Yeah.
first time we're like, "Oh, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna get pregnant right away," and it didn't. So then this time we were like so cautious.
Yeah.
Like we're barely starting to think about names just because like we're still trying to accept it and absorb it, and it's like
Doesn't feel real at times.
Yeah. That's tough. Like, you know, kind of knowing like you have the news, but you need to like wait. And it's just kind of like a waiting game now. And it's like anxiety will kick in. At least with me, just thinking about like, you know, like going first test. Okay, that one's good. And the second, it's just, I don't know. It's just, I just see it. I'm like, you know, it has to be tough.
You're like expecting bad news every time. It's just
Yeah.
bad situation to be in.
Brace yourself.
Yeah. And we had a scare too, right?
Yeah, we had a little complications in the beginning.
Because we're so new to this, because she had some bleeding, and we're like, I guess for some people it's kind of normal. And then we didn't know. We thought the worst.
Yeah. There was one night I didn't sleep at all.
Yeah.
I remember because I honestly thought, okay, like I'm having a miscarriage. This is not. It didn't work. Like it worked, but I'm having a miscarriage, and it was tough. And even then, I remember I was calling my doctors, and because even through the beginning, I still had to go through my fertility doctors. I still couldn't talk to my OB, pretty much. And I remember I would tell her, and she would just be like so chill, and I'm like, oh, why are you being so chill? Like I'm over here freaking out. And then she would send me to get another blood test. She's like, well, your numbers are looking good. Like you just have to wait till your ultrasound. I was like, okay, well then I had to wait like 3 weeks for the ultrasound. Like, and those 3 weeks, I'm just thinking like the worst, you know?
3 weeks ever.
Yeah. But I remember when we had our first ultrasound that we saw the little heartbeat for the first time. I think that was crazy.
Was I there? Was I in there?
You were there.
This is the second one that I couldn't
Ramon.
go.
Yeah,
They
was the
changed
second
it.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys cried then.
Yeah, we were just shook. Like we couldn't believe there was a little human in there.
Yeah. Damn.
Have you felt any like movement yet?
I have. Yeah, I started feeling kicking a little bit here and there. And then I got a little Doppler to check the heartbeat. So we've been listening to that every now and then.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
Nice. One thing that I used to do with Aiden, I used to put headphones over her belly.
When I was sleeping?
Yeah. And he would move so much. With Adi, I tried the same thing.
Headphones, like music?
Yeah, like headphones. And I would just blast my music. So
She
that
was
would
just telling me like you should talk to the baby and stuff.
with Aiden, it didn't work. So that's why I tried headphones. I started looking online back then, and it said try headphones. So I did. Tried that with Adi. She was more like chill. She wouldn't move so much. And then with this baby, it's just random, you know. Can't really see it, but with
Sometimes
Aiden,
it just kicks you in the back.
yeah. The other day I was sleeping and I just felt like, what the hell? But yeah, so you should try that. Like try like some headphones and just blast music and probably move a little more.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Try
I didn't
that.
think about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, you know, it's funny. Funny story. Back then when we found out with Aiden, you know, we were going to have Aiden, we were also very, very broke, you know. So, you know, we weren't in the best living conditions at the moment. We weren't financially well. But I was always very, like, thrifty to a sense and very, like, I was on
Still
eBay.
is.
Yeah, I still am. I was on
All this is
eBay,
kind
you know,
of
and
used.
I was on eBay. So from time to time, I would like, you know, give myself a luxury of buying something. And I managed to buy some headphones that I fell in love with, you know, and I had those for years and years. And then I used those headphones with Aiden so he can like, you know, so he would move. So I got attached to those headphones and then like
They have an emotional valley.
Yeah, and then she broke him. She stepped on him, and it broke.
It's like breaking your heart.
Yeah, well, you know,
You should have framed them. Just a little bit more.
you know, I didn't think. The thing is, when that happened, I didn't really think about it. Oh, these are headphones, you know, whatever. Just throw them away.
And then he's like, "Oh, now years."
Yeah,
later,
now
he's
years
like,
later.
It meant so much to me.
Yeah, and I've been hunting for those headphones, and I finally got them.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like just that emotional. Like when I see
same
those
exact ones.
nah, well, the same model and all, not the exact same ones, because the one that broke, just throw them to the trash. Like they can't fix them anymore.
Yeah.
But the same model, I found them on eBay. I bid on them and I won them. But it was like as soon as I got them, like I gotta, you know, I gotta buy another pair. Just emotional, like, you know, like the emotional connect. Just reminds me of him moving, you know, and he will move a lot. So I will put him, and then you can see the belly like a wave just moving around. And it was just like, you know, just little things like that. And now I try to do the same thing with this baby, but it's kind of random. It's a random, you know?
I mean, doesn't it feel good to buy the things that, like, you work to buy the things that you want? Like, we always talk about, like, one of the first, because she started working early. Like, and then one of the things that's admirable is, like, the iPod. Like, when it first came out, she saved up money to buy her iPod, and she would be on it all the time.
Yeah.
And then I remember,
I
like...
still have it.
Yeah.
Oh, you still
For real?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay. That's what's up.
talking about emotional.
Exactly. So
And
you can
like-
relate.
Yeah.
And then I remember, like, the first pair of Jordans I bought
Yeah.
after a couple of years working at Walmart. Like, I was old. I was, like, 20 or something. And I just remember that day, like, because, you know, I never had a pair of Jordans. We were kind of like I said, I had enough. I had, like, one pair of shoes a year, two pairs of shoes a year. And then walking in there, I didn't even really like them that much. I just wanted to get
Yeah.
And then I saw them and I bought them. I was like, damn, I really worked for this. Like,
Yeah.
pretty tight.
No, yeah. And in a sense, like, you know, you limit yourself when you were, you know, at a certain point of your life. But then when you do have it, is like, you know, you cherish them more. You know, you, like, this is mine. This is what I built. This is what I work hard for. You know, and it feels better, you know.
That's kind of why I guess we waited too, because we wanted to make sure we were financially stable to have a kid.
Yeah, you know, the thing with kids, there's not really a good time, you know.
It's kind of like buying a house.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
There's
Yeah,
never a right time.
yeah, it really is. You know, because you know, with us, you know, we know people that have been trying to wait, you know, to have their things together, and they do, and they go through that path. You know, sometimes it works for people, sometimes it doesn't for everybody. You know, with us, you know,
We just winged it out.
we did. You know, with Adi, I wasn't expecting it, and I've talked about this, and I feel so bad for it, but I was shocked. You know, the trauma with Aiden was still happening in my head, and then now we have another one coming in, like, you know, just too
Is
much.
that where you say you took like a couple of days to process it? Or
Yeah.
something?
I don't
Stop
remember
talking
that.
to me for 3 days.
I don't remember that, but then she mentioned it, and she's like saying like,
You
oh, I
went
really did, bro. I really
it was
did.
your fault.
Yeah, I did it for myself. You know? It was all me.
Yeah.
It just shut down.
Yeah, and I remember because if she wouldn't have mentioned that, I would have forgotten. I did not remember when, and I would try to fight her about it. Like, no, I didn't. I remember I was like, no, you.
She always reminds me about stuff. I'm like, I don't even.
It's a woman thing, right? It has to be. No, but yeah. So you know, with Adi is like, I thought about it. Like, you know, you're right. I did ignore you for like 3 whole days. I remember going to sleep. You know,
Trying to
hella.
process it. And
Yeah.
accept it.
Yeah, and it was a lot for me. I remember at the moment, like, we were still pretty broke. Yeah, we were still broke. Not pretty, we were broke. And then Aiden was still, like, you know, crying a lot. So it was a lot for me. You know, it was a lot of process. And now with this baby,
Where were you guys staying at the time?
when we were there,
When we got pregnant with Adi, we were with my mom.
Yeah.
We were renting a house. So we were renting one of the rooms, and then the house had 3 rooms. She was in another one. My sister was in another one. So, I mean, we weren't like in terrible living conditions, but I guess on an emotional level, it was kind of not that great.
Yeah. So it went around the time she was going through a lot of stuff with her mom, and then me and myself, like, you know, we had our issues because of that. So it was like, you know, it was a little roller coaster of emotions. So that was why it was pretty hard for me. You know, it was like, you know, trying to process, like, and I told her this before, like, you know, I feel like with Aiden, it was like we were new parents, and it took it through a roller coaster. And
It's
you
like
know,
we literally had no idea what we were getting.
Yeah.
How old
ourselves
did you guys
into.
have? And were you?
We were 20.
I was 20. I just turned. Well, I wasn't. I just turned 20, but yeah, I was reaching 20. No.
You had just turned 21.
Yeah.
I was gonna turn 21.
Oh yeah. So with that, it was, it was a lot, and I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say?
I don't know.
No, but it was,
Just trying to process Adi.
yeah, it was just, oh yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I've told her this before, like, I saw the way that Aiden, and the living environment that we were in, there was so much issues between us. I felt like I was scared that, this was.
We had to grow up really fast.
Yeah, but I was legitimately scared that, we still were barely getting out of our issues as a couples. And then having another baby was going to start again. I just felt like
reset, right? Like start over.
Yeah, and I told her like I legitimately felt afraid that we were going to like break it off. Like this, we weren't going to be able to like handle a second baby. So, it was kind of in a way, it was a fear.
Did you let her know that? Or?
No.
Oh, you did?
No. And this is me telling her like years later, like maybe
the problem
a year.
Yeah. Stuff.
Yeah. It was like, what, maybe I told her like a year ago. It's like legitimately I did not tell her, but this is my thing is like I was.
When he did tell me that, I was like, that makes so much sense.
Like, why did you just say that?
Why did you tell me that?
Like,
we could have talked about it.
But yeah, so it is that's why it was hard for me to like accept Adi. I was scared. I was more scared than happy. Like years later we talked about it, and like I feel bad about Adi because I love the girl. She's she's annoying and all, and she's stubborn and all, but I love her. She's I feel bad for her feeling to a certain point in my life that I was afraid of having her. But, it's a give and take type lesson, you take in life, you move forward from that. That's why with this baby, I'm trying to be more, not involved, but more emotionally available for her and the baby, trying to redeem myself.
Or accepting.
Yeah. And I'm telling her, like, she just applied no, she did not just apply. Yesterday was her last day of work. She went on leave. And I'm going on my leave on the 16th, like literally the day of, well, technically on the 14th.
Yeah, I remember you guys talking about how you didn't take leave before, like,
nah, bro,
because you just work. I remember she's working all the time, like.
Yeah. So I mean, like with me, like I didn't have the status to have a better paying job. Yeah. So I was working at fast food for a long time. And they're like, man,
remember you were always working, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like, all the time.
Yeah.
And when we do play soccer, like the indoor, I just remember like you're always talking about work or like coming from work or going to work.
Yeah, and the little things like that, that when I would go play, it was like I would find the little windows to go play, and it was a lot for me. I mean, it's like, minimum job, no benefits, literally nothing. Just you come to work, you clock out and you leave, and we pay the bare minimum. Yeah. So it was a lot, going from that to, once I had the chance to get DACA, like, little by little, I got different other jobs, and it was a lot better. So even with Adi, I was still at McDonald's, so it was hard for me to like even take time off. If I take one day off, that's like, I was thinking like we're already making calculations like that's like $80, and those $80 can go for gas, can go for diapers. It's just, I didn't have the luxury.
Couldn't afford it.
Yeah, we couldn't. I couldn't even. I remember so many times I had to go to work sick on a fever. Pre-COVID, of course, on a fever. I'm feeling like the fever, but I'm still working.
Can't afford it.
Nah, bro. I couldn't do it. It's just
that's
like
real paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. I remember this one time I was working in Shattuck. I went to work with a fever. It was so busy, my fever went away. I went on break and it came back. On my lunch, I took a nap, 30 minutes, and I had to go back to work. And it's just like going back to that, and now I'm actually taking some time off. It's like fuck, It's a big difference.
That's like what's the most exciting part for me. Like I was talking to my boss the other day. I was like, I honestly like me taking the time off. It's just like, okay, cool. But I'm just really excited for him. I'm excited that he's going to actually have the chance to like bond with the baby, be around like 24/7 to like, when it's crying, I'd be like, here, it's yours.
Yeah.
That's what my coworker said. Like, are you ready to take time off? Like, oh, I didn't really think about that. They're like, yeah, you gotta take care of your wife, like, because he just had a baby too, like third baby. So yeah, you gotta take care of your wife for like that first month, 2 months. And I'm like, oh, damn, for real, huh? Because we were like talking about, should I take my 3 months or 4? I think it's 4 months. I'm in the beginning, or we have the option to split it up too. And then I'm like, nah, I'm gonna just take it seguido so I could just be there for her.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, how long are you gonna take off?
6 weeks. Since I've been with the company only for 2 years, I'd only qualify for 6.
Qualify for 12, don't you?
No, 6.
But 6 is full paid, and then the other 6 is half paid.
I think the state pays for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that I can't afford. So, I mean, I do have PTO and sick time, but I'm also thinking about like future holidays or events. You know, with the baby, I still want to have the PTO.
You have a year to use your time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you have 12 months to use your time, so he can use it at a later time.
Yeah, and we talked about it. Like, you know, at first I was thinking about my 6 week doing it into like 3 weeks, and then the other 2, but it didn't work out. Like, you know, it's my first time ever taking off from work, so
I appreciate it.
just take it all. You know, so it's, you know, and going back and looking at Aiden. I would come home from work hella tired, and you know, Aiden was there, Adi was there. It's not the same as actually being home. You know, just I wake up, the baby's there, go do my things, the baby's there throughout the whole time. That's new. That's new to me. So
like he literally like probably I think you went to your shift at work and then you came to the hospital. Like even like when I was in the hospital with Adi, he would go to work. You know, come over after. You know, it's just like he's just never had a break.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you feel like working is therapeutic to you? Because I feel like it is for me.
No, I don't think so. It depends. I think depending on what I'm doing, kind of like today, I think it was one of those days where my day went off pretty fast. It really depends. You know, I think I find other areas where it's therapeutic for me.
I think he's finding this therapeutic.
Yeah. Yeah,
He
before
spends a lot of time on this.
Yeah, before that it was my fishes. Honestly, I have fish.
Fishes?
My fishes. I found my like aquarium very therapeutic for me, and kind of drove off into this. You know, just yeah.
That's cool. I think it's important to explore our hobbies.
Yeah, definitely. You have a hobby, right? You're a beekeeper.
Yeah, I'm a beekeeper.
Yeah.
I brought you guys honey.
You did. Oh, that was what is it?
Showing it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
some
okay.
Local Richwood honey.
Nice. How's that? How did that happen?
I used to volunteer at Urban Tilth.
I heard about that.
Yes, the urban gardening in Richmond with Jesse. He used to be like a coordinator there, Jesse Alberto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I think he had bees on site or something. And then I was always interested in it. I thought it was cool. And then one time he calls me. He's like, "Hey, I'm catching a swarm in a parking lot. Like it was a AutoZone or something. I don't know where. Some bees swarmed on somebody's tires or car or something. Like, do you want these bees?" I'm like, then I think I asked my sweater. I'm like, "Can I put some bees in the backyard?" He's like, "Sure." And then he brought the bees. He's like, "I got a box for you and everything, a starter box." And I was like, "Okay." And then the next day I went to the store and spent like $500 in supplies. Yeah. And then I was like, I'm gonna just do it full on, like screw it. And I've been doing it for like 3-4 years or something like that.
Nice. How big is the colony, or what do you call it?
I got one colony and it's 4 boxes, like 4 tiers.
How often do they produce?
You can pull like once or twice a year.
Oh, okay.
Depending on how healthy the colony is.
Is that therapeutic?
I think it is. It's scary too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got stung for the first time.
I got stung for the first time a couple months, and it was funny because I was by myself. Sometimes I'm in the back doing it on my own with music, blasting and stuff. And then our dog got stung.
He got stung first.
And then she loves our dogs. I mean, I love them too, but she's like babies them. So she's like, "Oh my God, then the world is crashing down. We're gonna go to the hospital." He had a bad
reaction. I had to take him to the ER.
Yeah, he went. Yeah. And then I was like, whatever. I'm kind of in the middle of it, so I can't stop. Like, and like half of the box is out, and I took out hella frames, and then I got stung, and I was like, I'm hella sensitive to mosquitoes and like all kinds of bugs and stuff if I get bit. And then I was like, well, I'm in the middle of this. I'm gonna find out if I'm allergic or not. I got stung like right here on my arm, and it hurted hella bad. And then I was like, well, I guess my throat is not tightening up, so I guess I'm good. And nobody will ever check on me, so because she's preoccupied with the dogs in the front.
I'm like, you can talk, you can tell me what you're feeling. He can't.
So I was like, I got stung. Oh well, keep going. But well, I got EpiPens around the house because I told my doctor, I was like, hey, I'm a beekeeper. Can I get some EpiPens? Like, yeah,
just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
So it's the first time since you started? That's not bad. Yeah. Well, how did they think? You don't have a suit?
I did. I have a suit, but I had stretched, and in certain areas the suit's kind of tight because I'm short, so those are like tall people suits. Yeah, so it's like hella baggy on me and stuff. And then I was like stretching, pulling the box, and then sometimes the bees get aggressive when I don't use smoke. Sometimes I just try to get in there hella quick. But then I found out I should use smoke because then our dogs got stung like 3 times.
Yeah.
When I didn't use smoke.
Mm-hmm. What would trigger a bee? Just you messing with
Me going into the home.
Oh, okay.
Right. They get agitated and stuff. And then they send out pheromones like, hey, this guy is like, you need to attack him. Like, he's messing with our colony.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all trying to attack him. Sometimes he'll take videos and you can see the bees trying to attack him.
Mm-hmm. Did you just pull him off, or you kind of let him?
Yeah, I saw him and I was like, motherfucker. And then I just took it out.
It doesn't kill them?
Yeah, they die, yeah. I think they die when they sting. Like, eventually, they'll like go on the floor.
Because I did see a video where a guy got stung. Well, he purposely got stung by the bee, and it was showing it kind of like a fast clip. And I guess basically letting the bee take its stinger out so it survive. I don't know if that's true, but I know since you were here, I was going to ask you that. Yeah, you're just saying like if you pull
I know some people use it for therapy, like in Japan or something. They sting themselves purposely for like arthritis and stuff.
I got stung by a bee on my foot once.
Yeah,
That was a total accident.
Oh, she got stung. We're like
We're
by
in
Monterey.
Yeah.
We just randomly walking on the beach and she stepped on a bee and she started yelling. I'm like, what the? She's like, get it off.
Because I could see the bee still stuck on my foot.
Yes.
And then I was like, babe, I got stung. And he's like...
And there's hella sand on her foot, so I can't see the stinger. I'm
yeah,
like,
he couldn't see the stinger. I'm like, it's right there. He's trying to take the
bee
stinger
wasn't
out.
there anymore?
Not anymore. The bee fell off, and then, but the stinger was still there. You know, the longer that you leave the stinger, the more venom that goes into your system. So I was like trying to make him take it out fast.
I think we had just got to Monterey too. Like,
it was the first day we had gone there.
First stop. I'm like, damn. I hope this doesn't.
He's over there
like looking up
hospitals.
Kaiser Hospital. The closest one was like I think Salinas or something. I don't know. It was like an hour away or something. And I was like, oh my god, we might have to go to ER. It's gonna ruin the whole weekend.
Yeah, but luckily I didn't have a reaction.
She wasn't allergic.
Yeah, that was good. How did yours happen? Yeah, it does itch.
It's just so
it burns
bad.
at first, and then it itches afterwards.
No, this happened to me at the Nicholas Park. We had taken the kids, and we were running. I had sandals on. We were running in the grass. I was running with the kid, and all of a sudden, I feel something. Like I step, and I'm like, ow! And then I look over, and the bee's still stuck. I pulled the whole thing. It was very itchy, and I just yanked it out by myself, and then I told Mario, I was like, I got stung by a bee.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I remember that. It was Aiden and Nadi, or just Aiden?
I was with both.
Yeah,
I think you were there too, but you might have been playing with Aiden.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna mention. Like, I know I was playing with Aiden, and we didn't really catch that. I was just expecting you to freak out and ball on the floor.
It was very itchy. For a while. Oh my god, it was terrible. I mean, luckily I wasn't allergic either because I didn't even consider that. I was more worried about a disease or something. I was Googling stuff.
Oh, I got bit by a tick before. She freaked out. Yeah. I didn't even know I got bit.
He made me take it out.
Where was it at? Your hair?
I went fishing somewhere in Marin with some friends, and then I had felt something like a sharp pain in my stomach, but I was driving, so I was like, whatever. And then I get in the shower, and I'm like...
The next day.
Yeah, the next day.
He didn't even notice it the first day.
Yeah, I was too tired to shower, so I just knocked out.
Didn't that go into your skin?
Yeah, yes. it was. So I'm showering, and then I look down, I'm soaping my body. I'm like the tick is halfway in my stomach, its body. Yeah. And I was like, I turned off the water. I damn near jumped out the shower.
What am I turning into?
I'm like, Babe, you gotta take this out. And she was freaking out. She
we weren't living together. We were
living
together. So you were at your house. I was at my house. You drove to my house. You're like, you need to take this out. I'm like, I was scared. I was like, I don't know if I could do that.
Soap still in his
hair. Pretty much. I threw myself on the floor. I'm like, babe, take this out. And then she took it out, and then she was freaking out. So she just grabbed some pinzas, took it out, and ran away. And then I'm like, babe, the head is still in there. You gotta get the head. She's like, I'm not gonna touch that. I'm like, babe, I'm about to die. Babe, get this head. And then I was like, damn, I'm gonna get Lyme disease.
Yeah, that's what I thought. First thing I thought.
I was hella scared, dude. Yeah. But I got tested, and I guess I was fine. Didn't find anything in my blood. So.
It was a clean tick. Because we know Aiden and Nadi, they're super sensitive to mosquito bites.
Oh, I hate mosquitoes.
So if they get stung by anywhere by a bone, Like they can't move their feet, their arms. It just swells up horrible.
Dude, when I go to Mexico, it's open season, man.
I know that.
They eat me up
After him.
alive out there.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go. I was playing soccer the other day, and then right here at Berg Park by Grant, and then I finished literally just, you know, after when you're done playing, you're just changing your shoes, like 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. I got stung. And then I get home, and they stung me through my shirt. And I got hella mosquito bites.
I'm like, did you take your shirt off? Why is there so many?
She's like, I'm watching you.
Crazy. Yeah.
But yeah,
The kids are like that too. It's like, I remember at one point when we were living in an apartment, they'd get like little bolitas that like, they had like water inside of them. Like, from mosquito bites. I had taken them to the doctor, but
sometimes that happened to me when I was younger. You just pop it.
like, it's like they just let it sit there, and they're like, I mean, they're just extra sensitive to it. And
I'd be telling, hey, let me pop it. Because when I was a kid, I mean, when I would get them, I would
hurts,
pop it.
though.
Yeah.
When you expose it, like, I think.
I used to like it. When I get cut, I love putting alcohol on my cuts. I don't know, it's weird. Because I like how it stings. So I'm trying to over there poking them there.
Makes them feel something.
Yeah. But yeah. Do you guys have any questions for us? How do you guys feel?
I have a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
How old is Ari?
She's 7.
7.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel to have another, to be expecting a new baby?
For me, I feel, I like what Aiden said. He said at the beginning when we had Ari, he was still little, so he didn't really get to, like, you know, he doesn't remember what the emotions felt like. And now that he's older, he's like, you know, at least now I'm going to remember what it feels like. And I think that's kind of like, it makes me think of when my sister was born. I was there to help out, you know, like I was almost like I was a little bit older than him. So it's just like, it makes me kind of like remember that. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
A lot of people think of it as like you're starting all over again, but I've always said I wanted like 5 kids. So
You just have more help now.
yeah, you know, it's just like, it's just.
Yeah, I've always said I wanted hella kids too. And then after this, like, I just want to have at least one.
Yeah.
I'll be happy.
Yeah, no, for me, I've told her this before, like in the last couple of days, and she's just like, why? You know, I'm like, God, I'm just happy. You know, I tell her, like, you know,
I just never got the reaction from you before,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
it's
Because it
kinda
was so
weird.
different before.
yeah.
Yeah.
And going back into all my situations, there's a lot of things in between. But I tell her, like, you know, like, I'm hella happy. I'm like genuinely happy. Like, the way that I say I'm happy, I can't say, I can't put any more words to it, because there's like, I don't feel like there's a way to really express how I'm feeling. I'm just real happy, you know? So I tell her, like, randomly, you know, when I'm feeling it, I'm telling her, like, you know, I don't know, I'm just really happy this time around. You know, I'm excited. I can't wait, you know, and it's a weird emotion to explain, because I tell her and then she doesn't, well, she understands, but she's always asking, like, why, you know, why are you happy? And she wants details. And I'm like, I don't know how to say that. You know, I don't know what kind of details you want, but I don't know. It's just, it's a different feeling. It's a different emotion. Like, there's nothing in between me and my actual emotions. And kind of like where we're at in our life and this stage in our life, you know, we are a lot happier. Well, not happier. I think we are a lot more tuned with each other. You know, we understand each other more. I've worked a lot on myself to try to be who she wants me to be, as when it comes to fighting and escalating, understanding, because I'm also in my own world sometimes, and that can be a little annoying to her.
I mean, I think for me too, I've learned how to like give you your space. I wasn't aware of that before.
Yeah. So I don't know. We also, for the last, I want to say maybe 3 years, we haven't really had a big fight. You know, I can already count maybe how many, 1 or 2, but we don't let it escalate, you know? So,
I think same. Huh?
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't really fight. It's about dumb stuff.
Yeah.
A lot
Usually.
of bickering.
So I picked that shit
What?
off the ground.
Wash that dish. All the dishes are washed. Why are you putting one more?
She always hates, like, they clean a lot, and then I'll cook something on the stove when they had just cleaned the stove. And, like, the other day I made frijoles, and it's flattered.
Yeah.
She was like, we just fucking clean.
No, and then like he's clumsy.
Yeah,
like
I'm hella clumsy.
he'll put like a seasoning and it'll be everywhere except where it's supposed to be. He'll just be like, oops.
That's why she does all the cooking, because she's picky about how I cook.
You know, it's funny to me too. Like when I cook, she already knows it. Like, oh, you're gonna cook. Well,
Who does the cooking?
He does
Yeah, I
most
do.
of it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I mean, I like cooking. I think when I started working at Denny's, I was in the grill a lot because of necessity, and I learned a lot of stuff there. So I like cooking, but she knows when I cook, I take twice as long and I make twice as messy. You know, it's like, so yeah, like if
That's what I hate. I'm usually the one. Sometimes like when she makes something, she'll be like, "Babe, can you wash the dish?" And I'm like, piled hella high. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I guess that's fair. You didn't spend all this time cooking.
Yeah. But yeah, so before we wrap this up, I just want to say, I think I already said it, but I'm really happy for you guys. You know, I don't know how to say this or why I feel the way I do, but when you told me about it, you know, it kind of, you know, it touched me. You know, I was like, I don't pray much. I really don't. I'm not very religious.
Yeah, I'm not really.
But I was praying for you guys. Like, you know, I like what we have in the kids, you know, having a kid, it's, you know, it's special. It's a lot, you know. So I wanted you guys to have it, you know. And when you literally told me, like, I swear to God, I already was having a good day, but I want to sleep, and I feel like I want to sleep even.
What an even bigger smile on his
like,
face.
Yeah, I want to sleep cómodo, like, you know.
Well, now it's different when people ask you, how are you? And then I'm trying to appreciate the things that I have now. I guess recently, like being financially stable, having a kid on the way. It's like now when people ask you how are you, it's different because every time they ask me, I think about, you know, how we're expecting, and it's different. I'm like, I'm blessed. Like,
Yeah.
it's a blessing to be in this
And
position.
even like having symptoms, like I haven't had, luckily yet, haven't had any symptoms, but like horrible symptoms, I would say. But even if I did, I was like, dang, like I'm just grateful to be at this point, you know, like whatever symptoms I'm feeling, it's fine. Like I'm just grateful to be here.
Well, right now she's like worried about like what she's wearing, and I'm like, you better be happy you feeling this way right now. Like,
It's hard.
she's like, what do I wear? Like, we went to see my family in Pittsburgh yesterday, and she's like, what do I wear? And I'm like, babe, you look good in whatever you wear.
I didn't have anything to wear. My jeans don't fit me. And it was hot yesterday, especially in Pittsburgh. I was like, what am I going to wear that's going to be cool? You
And
know,
I'm like,
be
this is a
comfortable.
good problem to worry about.
Yeah. But yeah, so thank you guys for coming in. You know, thank you for, like, you know, waiting a little longer for us. You know, I think the last hour I was trying to set up, and I didn't even bring waters. You know, what kind of host am I?
I know.
I'm
They had to bring their own water.
I know, like literally the last 5-10 minutes I was rushing it, and I thought, oh, you started drinking. I'm like, fuck, I didn't bring the waters.
I had a question for you guys. How do you guys? This is one of the things I think about because we're expecting. How do you guys find time for like intimacy or amongst each other? Like,
That's a hard one. I don't know how.
because I told her like how our relationship is gonna change. Are we gonna be distant? Because, you know, it's one focusing on the baby, and then like it's like tag team, but like
Intimacy. My question back to you: intimacy and how, as in spending time, quality time, or like physical.
both. Yeah.
It's hard. I think with Aiden. I don't know how far you guys heard podcast, like our episodes, but
I listen to everything.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you.
Literally every episode.
For me, it was hard because, you know, I have a high sex drive. And, you know, before Aiden and Nadi, we used to, like, you know, regularly, daily, 5 times a day. No, just like, wink, wink.
Well, I just asked her, like, how are we going to find time to have sex? Like,
it's hard.
with the kid.
Yeah, it's hard because legitimately
I mean, I can speak to like the Aiden part. Like we've talked about it, like since you've heard it. You know, it's just, it was a lot of insecurity on my part. Like I didn't feel attractive after having a kid. Like it was hard for me. And then, you know, it, you know, took some time to like get that back.
Yeah. So, you know, going back and looking at it, we used to, you know, have it very regularly. And then with Aiden and Nadi, it kind of went back to like maybe 3 times, once in every 3 months, you know. And she'll know. I used to, like, you ever see movies where someone's in jail and they're like marking their days? That was me marking like, okay, it was 3 months, 4 months now. And it got to where it was like 6 months. I'm like, it's been 6 months. Like, I have my paper here, but it was hard for us because that was me and that wasn't her. Like, she was going through her problems during that time. I wasn't very considerate on what was her going through emotionally. So we have a lot of fights when it came to that, and my part, I was like frustrated,
sexually frustrated.
Yeah. It was, I learned that as the actual thing,
I don't think sex is ever going to be the same.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, even like, I think about it now, and it's like, we literally have to worry about the kids walking into our room in the middle of the night.
But I mean, you guys say, like, Aiden's attached, or they're attached, or they want to sleep with you guys sometimes?
Yeah, so it's like he'll put them to sleep in the living room, and then they'll both end up in our bed in the middle of the night. So it's just like we have to be very strategic about.
Yeah, we have a plan,
Let me pencil it in here.
Yeah, because he almost caught us once recently, and he just walks in like, "What are you guys doing?" Sorry, getting into detail. What are you guys doing? He walks in the room, gets something, he gets out, like
just hugging each other very hard.
we're wrestling. But it was like, that's the fear that we always get, and we always thought like, we've been pretty good all these years, and it finally happened. And we're looking at it like, holy shit, it finally happened, But I guess it's a lot of planning. It's a lot of planning, I guess. But when it happens, it happens. I think at first it was real hard for me. Now that we are where we are now, it's been easier on me. Like, I don't expect it as much because that was my main issue. Was like I was expecting it every day, like we used to.
But I mean, she was just telling me, I guess, like the first month or two, you can't have sex.
Yeah, I think your body has to get used to.
And she was showing me videos. I'm like, because I don't know anything about this stuff.
I'm like, let me show you some birth vlogs.
I'm like, the girl
so
ripped from her vagina to her anus, like it ripped. And I'm like, that's a fucking thing? That's crazy.
I mean, you have to heal. And then not only that, it's like you can contract an infection. It's just, she has to be careful.
Yeah, so I think with Aiden and Ari, I knew the first 2 months, 3 months, I was not going to expect anything. And I was okay with it. But then after that, like, hey, your healing time is over. What's going on?
You're fully healed.
Yeah, like, okay, I gave you your 3 months, But I think once I started getting used to, like, okay, I'm not expecting as much, it got easier on me, And she knows how I am. So, it's like favor for a favor. No, but, I think what she mentioned earlier, like, it's never really the same. It could be... That's our case. I think with other people it might be different. It might be like, you have your baby, you go 3 months, and then everything's back to normal. It really depends on, the baby itself, and then you guys...
Yeah, I think about, like, are we still going to be intimate or affectionate? It's not even just about sex, too. It's because, I'm hella cariñoso with her all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I wonder if that's going to go away, or you're going to feel a certain way if I'm spending, like, more time with the baby, or, like, focusing my attention on the baby.
Yeah. I think as long as you guys are considerate, and that it's it's gonna be a little different, and you guys can work with that, I think it should be easy on you guys, because like I said, that was my issue. I wasn't considerate at all, so it was hard for me, and that added pressure on her, because she kind of mentioned like, oh, she didn't feel attractive, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like,
that's what I tell her all the time.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, they don't
fine like wine.
Hell, oh my god, man, and they don't understand, bro. Like, yeah, but it's hard because for me, it's something else. Like, if I say, hey, you look good, I like your hair, it's like, nah, I don't think so. It looks crappy.
She always act like she don't want compliments.
That's a woman thing. Yeah, that's a woman thing. But it's different if someone else tells them that, because it's happened where I like, oh, you look good, like, no, I kind of don't like it, and someone else compliments, and then they light up. No, she lights up.
Yeah, so. Sometimes when I give them, I feel like they're empty.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then if I don't say anything for like a day or two, she's like feeling a certain way and stuff.
You don't love me.
Yeah. She's always
compliment my hair.
The other day we made plans. I got home from work. We were gonna go somewhere, and she got ready, and I'm rushing trying to get things done. Like, gosh, she didn't compliment my makeup or my hair. I'm like, okay, you look good. Like, no, I had to tell you. I'm like, it's just, we're rushing. We're rushing. But little things like that, consideration definitely is going to help you guys out just
Talk
talk
to each other.
about it a lot. I think that's something that could have helped us, earlier in our stage, just talking about it. Because same thing, I would bottle up things, and I was frustrated, and I lash at her. She don't know what's going on. I just know it's because of that. But I wouldn't tell her, and it got easier, with Adi. It got easier. But I don't want to discourage you saying it's going to be different completely. It could be different. It could be different for you guys. It might be nothing happen. Yeah.
How much work do you put into setting this, like, each episode up?
It's gotten easier. I think at first it was taking me like an hour, and that was without video cameras. It was setting like an hour. Once I got video cameras, like an hour as well. And the more I do it, it takes a little longer.
Did you think it was gonna get this far, Aracely? You're like, it's just a little phase.
It's a little hobby.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. And then he's
gonna
like,
get a mic or two, and
he
now
just got this to monitor the cameras.
Yeah, because I got these two cameras, and one of them keeps shutting off on me. So there's a couple episodes where
It's been working today.
Yeah, so that's the reason I got it. That way I can monitor if one goes off, I can go up and turn it back on. So I'm like, okay, and it's expensive too. Like kind of you're saying like $500, like
expensive hobby, huh?
Yeah, I got and that's the thing with me. I'm also thrifty, so I'm like, if I would have spent everything new on it, I would have been at least, I don't know, $5,000 here. But I try to buy stuff that
here and there.
Yeah, like this one itself, it cost me very cheap. Like I got it more than half off, and then the cameras were also pretty cheap. Everything I would try to buy cheap because I know if I pay full price, damn. I can't afford another baby.
Are you really into podcasts?
Now I am. I think I didn't notice how much I was into podcasts until we got invited to the voice party. I think that's where I noticed, like, oh.
That would kind of sparked this.
Yeah, it did.
You asked a lot of questions to JD and stuff? Do you ask questions to JD about...
When I first started, not really, actually. I kind of do my own research on what I needed. I just told him, hey, bro, like, I'm going to start a podcast too. And he's like, oh, that's what's up. But when we started, I kind of went onto YouTube. I did a lot of Google searches and what I needed. I was pretty familiar with it. Now, the video editing has been hella hard, for me. Now it's getting easier, but at first I would spend like 4 days trying to edit one video. Now I could do it one in one day.
Well, I guess it helps them in too because it's not like clips. It's just like seguido.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so that's why I got this because I think it'll be easier for me at the end.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I'll be listening to all the episodes.
Oh,
I'll be like, babe, did you listen to stuff? I'll be like washing my car, listening, like just doing hella random stuff.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Pretty cool.
No, it feels good. Like we not say we have a huge fan base, but it feels nice when people say like, oh, they say something that they can relate. And it feels nice because it feels therapeutical for us to say it, but then when someone else kind of relates to it or they have their own input, it feels nice knowing that, we can kind of connect in a sense, so it's
not just that, but like the episode that you guys just posted, the couple was, I would say it's not like a common couple.
Yeah.
So I think that was really cool.
Yeah.
Like it was nice to listen to.
Colombiana.
And the other guy.
I'm like halfway.
Camila and Aladdin.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was so intrigued. I was like, wow, like they're so different, but it's so cool, that they can.
Yeah, because when I first started at IKEA, she mentioned him and his girlfriend.
Oh, is that who you guys met?
Yeah, with him.
I worked with him.
Yeah, so I was like, wait, so I forgot what the conversation was like. Oh yeah, so they can't really like talk because the language barrier. And I'm like, wait, so how does that work? Yeah, because he's from Syria, so he speaks his language and he's also getting like very fluent with the English. And she was like barely getting into English. I was like, so how does that work? So when they came in and they explained to us, like, okay, well that makes sense. And it was like, whoa, okay, that's crazy, And things like that, I think we found along the way. That like, oh shit, if it wasn't because of the podcast, I wouldn't have known this.
Yeah. Explore that option.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I told her. Like, I feel like I like knowing, I like expanding my knowledge. In high school, I would get in trouble with Asian people because I would ask them, like, where are you from? Not knowing that it's kind of offensive, but I wasn't trying to be like being demeaning, like, oh, are you from China? No, it's like
when I was young, I was extremely ignorant.
Yeah.
And up until probably high school.
Yeah.
Like meeting people. I got hella meeting friends and I was like, I didn't know mean was a thing. Like,
Yeah, me neither. Like Lao, people from. So I would ask people, I'm like, oh, so where you from? Like, and they would get mad, and I didn't understand why. Like, oh, where you from? Like, I'm from here. Like, I know you're from here, but what part? Like, where are your parents from? And they would get upset, but it wasn't me trying to like bash them or nothing. I was just curious.
But
I was
during those times, like we were trying to figure out our own identity too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and
like even for Hispanics, it's like you're Peruvian, right?
Yeah, I'm
It's like my ignorance was like, oh, he's Mexican.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of ignorant. Everybody thought I was Mexican. I'll just go along with it, like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and even
People
with
be like, you're Mexican. I'm like, yeah, sure.
yeah, bro, sure. Even
like,
with
from Peru, where's that at? Like South America.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and even with my culture, like
Sorry, or like when you speak Spanish, people would be like, "You speak Mexican."
Oh yeah, I've heard that a lot.
How when I used to work at McDonald's, what I hate, people used to call me Jose, and they used to say demeaningly, like, "Hey, Jose, can I?" I'm like, "Son of a bitch," like I'm not Jose, but they would get to me like that, like yeah, I'm Latino, yes, I'm Mexican, but I'm not Jose, So it's little things like that I would like always get.
Like even when I go to Peru and we went to Peru, they're like, "Oh, you speak like you're Mexican or whatever," like because like over here it's just so much Mexican.
Yeah, it's a lot
like,
of
kind of the culture kind of grows on you, and I learned to appreciate it more when I went to Mexico and see her fam and how hardworking. It's like 5-year-old kids in the fields. It's like crazy. Like you learn to appreciate what we got over here and
the luxuries.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about going back to Mexico. I haven't been back since I was 3 when I left, and I haven't been back.
Where you from?
Tamaulipas. It's in a.
Oh, you just said it's by the coast or something.
Yeah, it's a coast. It's very little. Like I never see people from that area. It's rare to see people like that.
She's from puro pinche Michoacan.
Yeah, so and going back to like kind of like that culture, like I'm always intrigued even with my own culture. Like I don't know my culture as much, so I try to get into like mythology and little things like that because I'm curious like that. But it's also kind of try to figure out like find myself my culture. Like I know about most of it, I don't know the details, and I'm slowly trying to get back into that because I do feel disconnected. I was born over there, but I don't feel connected like a lot of other people, and it's kind of sad. So, our goal one day is to go back, maybe, I don't know, 5-10 years.
You still have family out there?
Most of my family lives out there, but it's family that I don't really speak to, My family's big, but no one really talks to each other. And, amongst that, I've learned like a lot of people from my mom's side they live in a sense poverty, so they took advantage of certain things, certain scenarios with my mom.
Her situation.
Yeah, my mom's situation.
Burn bridges.
Yeah, I deleted everybody from Facebook. Like I don't want nothing to do associated with them. So it's like yeah, they're all over there, but I don't talk to any of them. So one day if we do go back to my city or where I was born, I'm gonna go just to visit the city and then not visit anybody from there.
Where's your family from?
I can't remember.
Guadalajara?
I think so.
Yeah. She's in like a rancho, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's her family.
Yeah, my family too.
Yeah.
From a rancho.
I was expecting totally different.
Jalisco, well, yeah.
When I went out there, but it's like dirt roads. And
Yeah, that's how it is where my family's from.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but for me, I have like, cousin, like my family's not that big. At least I don't know a lot of them if it is. My grandparents passed away, which would be the ones that I would go visit if like I had anybody to go visit. It's just I'm also very disconnected with my family. I do have them on Facebook, but we don't have anything in common. It's hard to interact, so I don't a lot of the time.
Yeah, and it's funny, but there was a movie that came out recently. Well, not recently, maybe like a year or two ago. Coco, you guys seen?
Mm-hmm.
So that was what triggered me and like try to figure out exactly more.
That movie is so cool.
I know, bro. Like I went into.
We love all Pixar movies.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, they're the best though. Like think about it, like Up.
Make you think.
Like Luca, I cried at the end.
I was gonna mention Luca. Like
so emotional. We went there too.
Yeah.
In that movie, we traveled to there.
Oh, nice.
Now that you mention Up, Up actually talks a little bit about their infertility, so that we always remember that movie.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
They couldn't have the kid.
Damn, you're right.
Yeah.
There was another movie too recently, or not recently, but kind of goes into that. I don't think it was a cartoon movie. Never mind. But yeah, I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, that's Pixar though. I love Pixar movies. But that one in particular, Coco, went into like a lot of details, and then they go into depth on like how they really believe and like kind of seeing the other world of it. Like they're like, damn, like that's where I felt like.
Well, what I'm starting to barely realize is that we're gonna have like a half Peruvian, half Mexican kid. So that's like interesting. 2 different cultures.
You know, it's funny. Before I even met you, I didn't really know Peruvians, and then now that
That's what everyone else.
yeah, bro. Now that I'm older, I see a lot of Peruvian people.
Yeah.
I've worked with a lot of Peruvian people at
Every
Denny's.
time they're like, "Oh, I have one Peruvian friend too."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, and
Or I tried ceviche. Like,
when I worked at
Cool.
Denny's, at Denny's, and I was training in Antioch, there was a lot of Peruvian people over there.
oh yeah,
Antioch.
yeah.
Yeah, so I would
There's a lot of people.
like a lot of the cool coworkers there were Peruvians, and then they would bring friends, and then Saturdays and Sundays, a lot of Peruvian people. I'm like, holy shit, you know, like that's crazy.
We're low key, but we were there.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's my thing with Coco. It triggered something on me to know a little more about my roots. Yep.
Cool.
So, any more question, guys? No. How did you feel?
About what?
The whole thing.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I was hella excited. I
Yeah.
watch every episode. I'm telling you.
Dang. You? How do you
Like,
feel?
This is my
I feel
first
good.
podcast.
I was nervous at first,
Yeah.
but you kind of get into the groove.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I think everybody has said that, like, they come in, oh, I'm nervous, and then we start talking, and then it just kind of drags.
Well, at first we were like, I think we were putting it off too because IVF. We're like, we didn't know if we wanted to talk about it, stuff like that. By the way, if anybody has questions, feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
It's definitely a process in the community that needs to be talked about, and
It's lonely. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
lonely
very
process.
that's one of the first things when I was working in SF. This lady, she was going through that, and I was telling her our struggles, and she's like, "Yeah, you have to reach out to people, like find communities online, and kind of like with what you guys are going through, right? The clubfoot.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you gotta.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you don't know about. It's like maybe somebody in Richmond has it, baby that you don't know, but it's like that discussion has to be started, and
Somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about it like this, but when you don't go through certain things, you're kind of like, naive. You don't know a lot of things going around, and you don't know what someone else is going through. So like those comments like, oh, when you guys going to have a baby, like they don't know what you're going through, in a sense, it triggers something and it makes you feel a certain way. Same thing with her and her issues with the pregnancy. People like tell her like, oh, you lost a lot of weight, and it triggers something, and I think it's been said a lot, but it's important for people to talk about it. And, it's, things like this, even like postpartum depression, any type of mental health, like people like they don't know where to go to or where to find the resources, So it's, things like these, I think it's, it's nice that we can talk about it and open up a window for people to like, be like, hey,
Yeah, that reminds me of like at work. It's like I try to remind people, like my colleagues. I mean, I'm guilty of being like rude sometimes. When it's hella busy or like it's crazy packed. It's like everybody's fighting a battle that you don't know about. So just be kind.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what people are going through or what
everybody's
what
going
happened
through
before
something,
they
yeah.
came up to you or like.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, thank you guys for coming in. We really have fun. And we can do a part 2.
We should.
When
Down.
once you have your baby and
We have
everything's
so much more to talk about our relationship.
Yeah. See how you guys are holding up. But yeah, no. Thank you for coming. I think I said that like 3 times already, but
awesome.
yeah, it's fun. Things like this. It's.
So are you on board now with the podcast?
Oh yeah.
She's on it, and now she doesn't have an excuse. Now she's off for maternity leave, so she has next 2 weeks off.
Crank them episodes
Oh,
out.
I already got like 3 lined up. This
Oh,
week.
you do? I was gonna ask you like who you got other people in mind.
Yeah, we actually have a couple of people that.
I have another one tomorrow. Right?
Yeah, we're doing one tomorrow, and then I'm gonna try to squeeze 2 more this week, but I'm gonna push it a little bit. I don't know how she's feeling about it. So maybe to next
I
week.
have free time.
She said it. You guys heard it,
Before
cameras.
the baby comes, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know it's gonna be hard for us to do it once. Even like last month, we had to hold up. We didn't record for like a whole month and a half. And I posted on social media, like, hey, you know, no episodes the next couple of weeks. You know, and it was hard. You know, just our schedule wasn't meeting.
Schedule, and then I think I wasn't feeling well. I blame it on me. Every time there's no episodes, it's just like I don't feel good.
Yeah. So I know even now with the baby, it's gonna be a little harder as well. So I'm gonna try to squeeze as many episodes as we can before the baby, and then, you know, I did tell her I don't.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So I did tell her when the baby's born, I kind of want to like introduce the baby in here. You know, just quickly, short, like here. You know, but yeah. So yeah. We have time now, so. But thank you for coming in.
That's cool. I would like to hear an episode like how it's going for you during, you know, your first month of having the baby, and you know, I think that's
going from a mother of 2 to 3.
Yeah, to 3. I feel like it's things, and then like your birth, you know, because everyone experienced different things. So I think it's important to talk about, and it's nice to hear. Like for me, that I'm gonna be a first time mom. Like, I always look up videos like, like other people's experiences. And I know mine would probably be different, but it's still, like, something to have in mind, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's
She's
cool.
trying to get me mentally prepared too.
Well, with that being said, like, if you ever need help, just let us know. Any, like, advice that you might be going through, we can always help you out. We're not experts.
We're experts.
You beat me to it, but we're not experts. But, you know, I always try
Your
to.
experience.
Yeah, my experience, like, this is what I went through, you know? Yeah, I mean, maybe once things go the way they do, we can have, like, you know,
share different stories.
Yeah.
have little
That'd be
dates,
cool.
you know, kids.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Because you kind of mentioned you guys kind of like know each
Yeah,
other
we
when we were
did.
kids, and now we can have
That's
our
what
kids.
I told him too.
Did you guys hang out or did you guys talk?
We were friends.
Yeah, we were friends.
Yeah.
Did you guys sleepovers or no?
No.
I don't think so. No.
You slept over
My
at my
mother
house.
would have never let
Yeah,
me.
a few times, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did kind of mention, you know, like I think when I congratulated you guys on your Instagram, and then you said something about play dates,
Yeah,
and
I
I
was
was
like-
like, yeah, and I was telling Mario, literally in the car, I was like, oh my god, like we kind of grew up together.
Yeah.
It's like it's so nice to, like, you know.
And she
just
reminded
think
me
of,
that
like,
we were there for the first baby shower.
Yeah.
You
Baby
guys
shower.
were there.
In the little
Yeah.
apartment on the second
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
You know,
it was
we
all
were hella
packed,
crammed.
hella hot.
It was really crowded. And we had to step outside a couple times.
Yeah. And this is the thing I mentioned. You guys were leaving when I was barely getting there.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, you know, thank you for coming. And then I step in like, I know why they freaking left. It was so hot.
I mean,
It was so
crowded.
stuffy.
I felt like we were taking another room.
Yeah, and it's like, it's funny because you're like, we thought the mentality was always going to be a couple of friends and family. Her mom invited like the whole block. And like,
we had our wedding
in our backyard.
in our backyard.
yeah.
And
It was supposed to be 40 people at 1st. Then we were like 60.
yeah,
60
that's
is
pushing
cool.
it. Ended up being like 100 people, bro.
It was
Like,
over 100 people.
Close the whole street.
in the backyard, like it was no parking for like blocks. It was hella funny.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember that day, it was hot, stuffy. For some reason, I felt like we were going to drop down to the first floor. It was just so many
The
people.
ceiling was gonna collapse.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember that. Like, you guys came through. I remember that clearly. You know,
Yeah.
that was nice.
But yeah, it'll be nice to, like, you know, stay in touch and, like, for
Yeah.
our kids to, like, see each other.
Yeah,
and
that would be
stuff,
nice.
so.
Yeah, I was telling brother like it's important to have like to socialize. You know, it's because it's gonna be important for our kid to socialize and play and
And the thing going through IVF, we like more Aracely, like we distance ourselves from other people because we're just trying to focus on this and we can't relate to everybody else. And now she's like, yeah, I gotta be more social and talk to more people. And
Yeah. You know, it's
I'm
funny.
like, hell yeah, I'm gonna have play days and shit. Like,
It's you know,
Petty daycare.
yeah, yeah. You know, it's since we graduated high school, we've lost a couple of friends along the way. Sorry, I was about to burp. And there was one situation where one of them like hit me a little harder than the rest, and that also like showed me that I have to be a little more present, because you know, like when we were having our first time parents, even second with Ari, like I was too busy. I was always too busy to like, you know, make time or be with friends. I was always too busy to, you know, hit up somebody else, you know. So I'm trying to get into like a routine where I'm actually hitting up people, you know, and even if it's like, hey, what's up, you know, how's it going? I think it was easier when we lived in 19th Street, where I would see you a lot more randomly.
Yeah,
randomly. Hey,
I mean, busting the corner, like, hey, what's up?
yeah. So it was easier for me to then. But that was even me trying, like, you know, like I could have been like, oh, just, hey, what's up, bro? And then leave it off for another day. But I've learned I kind of need to socialize a little bit more. You know, I think that just trigger something, you know, so I'm consistently, you know, trying to.
In touch.
Yeah, trying to keep in touch. And sometimes I need a push. So if you ever want to, you know, just hit me up, bro. Especially when you have a baby. And
When you hit me up, you're like, I drove by or you saw me. I'm like, the hell, why don't you come inside?
Oh, yeah, that one time. Huh? I remember.
Why you being all weird? You're like creeping and stuff.
I remember, I forgot what it was, but I had to take my mom to pick up something. I had to come back right away. But he's like, oh, why didn't you come inside?
Even more weird to say, oh, I saw you drive by. I'm right next to you.
I'm like, oh, you should have stopped.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, so yeah, if you guys want to hit me up, hit her up, once you know,
same.
just let us know. We're here. Yep.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, we might
Thank you.
ask you about buying a house too.
Yeah, it's yeah. We found a few good realtors since we bought the house. I think one of them is real good, so we'll pass on over the number. Yeah,
Cool.
it's a process for sure, you know, but it's worth it at the end.
Trying to get one with, or hope something happens next year.
Yeah.
Trying to buy one, hopefully a dip or something.
Yeah, well, you guys are working hard, so that's already steps ahead.
Yeah.
You know, the work ethic. You'll be there soon.
That's true.
Yeah. Cool. Well, just hit us up. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you guys coming.
Is there outro music?
Nah, just cut it off. I was thinking about that, you know, but then I have to edit it more. You know, I think about that too.
More work.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think as I go more and more into the editing, I'm more comfortable. I'll mess around with some things, but right now I'm just trying to keep it basic.
That's good.
A little like that. Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you guys. See you on the next one.